you get in?
Always. I've got a key for emergencies, but I've never had to use it before.
And how old are you? He didn't quite manage to keep the surprise from his voice.
15.
Then in a pompous, rather preachy way,
Mummy thinks family life is important. We all do.
So it's not just you and your mother?
Of course not. But my father's working tonight. I don't know exactly where, so I can't get in touch with him. Then there's Claire. It didn't seem fair to worry her too.
Claire's your sister?
My aunt. My mother's younger sister. She lives with us.
They sat for a moment in silence. To his embarrassment, she began to cry.
Look, she said, I know it's unusual. Other people's mothers go out all the time, but Mummy wouldn't. Not without leaving a note saying where she was going. Not when she was expecting me back from school. I know something's happened to her.
Where do you live?
The Headland.
That too was unexpected. His perception of her shifted again. The Headland was an odd, isolated community on the coast, hardly considered part of Heppelburn at all. Young women who lived there did not usually speak of their mummies. The Headland had been formed when a Victorian pit owner had cut a channel in the rock and built a canal so he could ship out his coal, effectively splitting a small promontory from the surrounding land. Now the canal had been filled in, and all the gully contained was a sewerage outflow. Ramsay supposed that the double row of terraced cottages had been put up to house the workers on the canal. There was no other reason for them to be there. The Headland was still separated from the main road, though now it was by a railway track, which had superseded the canal and carried coal to a power station up the coast. People had no reason to visit the Headland. There were no scenic attractions, no beach. All that remained were the 2 rows of red brick houses, facing each other across the single road, and a red brick social club, grotesquely large in proportion to the number of people who used it. There was also, Ramsay thought, some sort of Coast Guard building, but he could not be sure of its purpose. It had been years since he'd crossed the railway line. "What time did you get in?" he asked. Then, before she had a chance to answer, "I'm sorry, I don't even know your name."
"Marilyn Howe."
He thought Marilyn was a very flighty name for such a respectable girl. Reading his thoughts, she said,
"My father liked the pictures."
"Ah." She muttered something under her breath. "I'm sorry?" She looked up at him and repeated it fiercely, angrily.
"At school, they call me Billy No-Mates."
She saw that he was confused.
"That's what they call people without any friends?"
"I'm sorry," he said again, awkwardly. It seemed a desperate sort of confession.
"I get in at 4:40.
She answered his original question as if the outburst had not occurred. "How did you get there?"
"School bus. It stops at the club."
"And there was no sign of your mother then?"
"No. At first I wasn't worried. Not really. I thought it was odd, but in a way I was pleased. It meant she was letting go. I suppose she is a bit clingy."
"Where might she have gone? Into Newcastle? To her friends for coffee?"
"Oh, no."
Marilyn seemed slightly amused by the idea. So, Ramsay thought, the mother was a Billy No-Mates too. "What made you look in the Dean?"
"She talked about going blackberrying."
It was the 2nd week of September. The blackberries were past their best, but there were still some for the taking.
"I waited until 6. Then I was really worried. I thought she'd walked through the Dean, fallen, had an accident."
"So you went to look?" She nodded. The Dean was a wooded valley which ran from the base of the Headland right into Heppelburn village. Ramsay's cottage looked over it.
"I walked along the main footpaths, shouting," Marilyn said. "I met a couple of horse riders and a jogger, but they hadn't seen her. Then I saw your light. I'm sorry, I suppose you're off duty. If you could just tell me who I should ring and let me use your phone."
"Why don't you let me take you home first?" Ramsay said. "Perhaps after all this time she'll have come back."
"Oh, God!"
Marilyn clapped her hand to her mouth. Her eyes were round and shiny as marbles.
"If she's arrived home and I'm not there, she'll be frantic."
There was a pause, a small, confiding smile.
"She'll probably have called the police."
The road to the Headland ran parallel to the Dean. There was a farm with a lot of empty outbuildings and a big sign which read, "For sale, barns suitable for conversion." The paint on the sign had faded. It had been there since Ramsay had moved into Heppelburn. As it approached the coast, the Dean flattened into scrubby grassland. The stream ran into the cut to the sea. When they came to the railway line, they had to wait at the level crossing. The train moved very slowly, and Ramsay sensed that Marilyn's impatience was turning into hysteria. She tapped long fingers on the dashboard, muttered under her breath. The last